Hi, it's Sarah here from Crafting and Stamping. I'm just trying to get set up and sorry that I'm not on camera live tonight. I've torn a rotator cuff, I think. I'm having some major problems with my arm, so let's just see if I can get sorted and see what everybody else can see. So who's out there tonight? Let's have a little look and see if I can find. Right, okay, so I've got that up now, I think. So hopefully I can just try and straighten up that video a little bit. There we go. Right, so as is usual, with my online workshop, I'm going to do 4 different projects, and apologies if I'm not quite with it tonight. So we're going to do 4 different projects. As always, you're very welcome to join me and just watch along. But if you would like to place an order, then of course I have a range of little bonuses that I provide. If you place an order, let me double check this. So if you place an order of any size, then you're going to get a thank you from me. That always happens. If you place an order over £30, then you're also going to get the Ideas Tutorial Bundle. Now the Ideas Tutorial Bundle is from demonstrators around the world. We've got various demonstrators that come together to put this tutorial bundle together, including of course myself. So if you spend over £30, you will get that. If you spend, and I think I might have got these numbers wrong because I think I changed them recently, so I'll have to check this for you. It is in the details anyway. If you spend over £45, then because we've got Sale-a-bration on, you're going to qualify for a Sale-a-bration freebie, and I'm going to share a few different freebies tonight to give you an idea of what you can make with them. And then let me check the figures, but if you spend over, I think it's £50, you're going to get my make and take bundle as well. Let me check these figures. And then I've got another one where I give you a paper pack as well for free, that I'll send out with the thank you. So let me just find these details. Facebook has been moving everything around again, so I just have a little bit of difficulty finding everything. So, right. Because I've switched profiles, it's in a different area, so I'm going to check those. It is in the description below. So I'm going to get started because it's a bit difficult, like I say, with my arm today. So let me just share which of the Sale-a-bration freebies I'm going to be looking at tonight. So one of our projects uses this Rings of Love designer paper, but we're not using it with the Rings of Love bundle, the Ringed with Nature bundle, should I say. The Ringed with Nature bundle goes beautifully with it, but I'm going to share another stamp set that goes with it as well. So another item that we're going to look at is the Pool Party and Soft Sea Foam cards and envelopes, and you get 20 card bases and 20 envelopes free with a £45 purchase, and I'm going to be using the Splendid Day Suite with that. And then we're also going to be using the wonderful silver and gold designer series paper. And I've got a lovely little project that I want to share with you for that. So, and the great thing about these papers is that they can be changed, they can be coloured. As you can see here, you can colour them with a blending brush and change the colour of them. You can use blends and add extra lines to them if you wish. So those are the freebies that I'm going to be focusing on tonight. The Rings of Love paper, the Pool Party and Soft Sea Foam cards and envelopes, and the designer series paper. And I'm focusing more on summer projects. This little one may be it could be Christmas, it can be any time of year, to be honest. But the other ones I think are very definitely summer projects that we can work with. So let's get started. I think we'll start with this because I'm going to have to use I'm going to have to use the cut and emboss machine for this. And because right, so that is the make and take pack that you guys would get if you place your order. There is a variety of these because we get 2 different styles of card and envelope. You'll get one or the other. You'll either get the soft sea foam or you'll get the pool party. So I'm going to work with the soft sea foam tonight, and I'm going to show you a finished pool party one. Let me pop these to one side. And I also want to point out a couple of things with these. Now, I meant to bring my finished cards, and I don't think I've got those with me. So like I say, what we're using are these card bases and envelopes. So the card, it comes flat like that, and the envelope comes flat like that. So all you need to do is fold those. I would recommend taking a bone folder to them to create a nice strong fold. And you can see that even the soft sea foam, they're all the same envelopes, different card bases. So this is the one that I've already made. So you're going to either get the soft sea foam or the pool party, but the envelopes are all the same, and they've got soft sea foam outer and they've got a pool party inner. Okay, so, and like I say, your free with £45 purchase. If you choose these, you're getting 20 cards and 20 envelopes. So they're really handy to have in your stamping cupboard. So now I'm also using soft sea foam as a matte, and I've got a basic white card panel here. And if you can hear noise, it's the dog under my desk. So, and let me just bring this in. And we're using little bits of this Splendid Day Suite. So this Splendid Day Suite has got wonderful foiled DSPs, and we're just using the tiniest bit. Let me bring in the finished card. Using a tiny bit across the front there and a little bit on the inside. It's also got dies and stamps. Now I want to point out something with these dies and stamps, so I'll come back to that in just a moment. Also, we've got this beautiful soft sea foam seam binding ribbon. Now the soft sea foam seam binding ribbon is this one here, but I've actually used the pool party ribbon that we've got in the main catalogue for going with the pool party cards. So, you know, you may want to get 2 lots of ribbon, or just go with a change in the colour. So, right, so stamps and dies. So the stamps that we've got are these. We've got a couple of lovely outline stamps, sort of plant stamps, and a little bee, and then we've got these infill ones. Now I want to point out that these do not line up. That is not the intent. So when you stamp these over the top, they're not going to line up and fill in your outline, and that goes for both. They are offset and they are designed to be like that. So if you don't like that idea, then what I would suggest is that you stamp the outline and colour it in by hand rather than with the infill stamp. So as long as you're aware of that, I think that that's, you know, it's a nice idea. So the dies, we've got a range of dies. We've got the outline ones that are going to cut out those stamped images, but then we've also got these detailed dies as well, and we're going to be using this little one, and these cut out an outline like this, and you can just use that on its own, or you can keep all of the itty little bits, where did that one come from, and mix and match them and fill in a centre, possibly with a different colour if you wanted to. Let's take that out. So I'm going to share an easy way of making these die cuts. What I've got here is a small piece of our adhesive sheet. So these come as 12 sheets of 6 by 12 adhesive sheet, and I just cut off as much as I need. So I've got this piece here of soft sea foam, and there are cut marks on the backing of this so that you can peel it off. I'm going to turn that over because I want to stick it on that side because I've got a mark there. And what I do is I just pop it down, use my bone folder to smooth that out, and then it's still got some backing paper here, so I'm going to peel that off and push that bit out as well. So there we have got a piece of card that's got an adhesive backing. That bit is not sticky at all. We're going to peel it off. So what we're going to do is die cut this out. So let me just get my cutting emboss. Machine. Let's bring this up. And this is where I have been having a few problems with my shoulder because I've been doing a lot of this week, and that shoulder's not liking it. I tend to run it back again, but you don't really have to. I just like to make sure that it has cut through. So what I'm going to do is just pull that out of there and pop out. Like I say, you could keep these and mix and match them if you wanted to. I'm not bothering today. And then I usually use my take a pick tool, here it is, to just push that outline out. There we are. Now, before I actually stick this on, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to use one of those from this Splendid Thoughts. So I'm going to use the sanding hooks, which I've already got out. Grab that from over there. Now, soft sea foam is very pale, so I don't usually recommend it for stamping text. Let me get a scrap. I will show you what I mean. And because of my shoulder, I'm having problems with my ink pad. So, just going to stamp this onto there. If that is dark enough for you, great, go ahead. This is quite a nice juicy soft sea foam ink pad, so you might be quite happy with that. And certainly the other one that I did with Pool Party, it's not a heck of a lot darker, but what I'm going to actually use instead is Soft Succulent. I'm just going to grab my stamping scrub and we'll clean this. Because we're going to a darker one, it probably wouldn't matter. Now, what I want to do is just figure out, I'm going to put some ribbon over the top here. So I'm going to leave that on, and I'm just going to pop that on there roughly so that I can see. So I want to stamp my sentiment about there. So, like I say, this is the Soft Succulent. And I'm going to stand up, I'm going to move those out of the way now, but I know that I'm wanting to put this about here. Like that. So, like I say, up to you which you prefer. Of course, if you've not got many colours, you can always go with black. So now I'm actually going to wrap my ribbon. If I bring this in, you can see why, because I want it wrapped just around the white, not around the soft sea foam as well. And I'm going to grab my tear and tape and just cut a couple of pieces to pop this on the back of here. So I'm going to position it just a little way down. And it doesn't matter too much where you position the tape, it's where the ribbon's going to go that matters. So if I pull that off there like that, doesn't really matter which piece, you'll get two pieces in your kit, you make and take it. So I'm just going to wrap that around and fasten it, and then pull that taut and make sure that I've got an even amount, and there we are. And I like to just trim away a bit of excess there, and I got a bit of card in there. Let's just pull that out as well. So we've got that. Now this is where we can put our sticker on. Now this is part of the DSP. So let me grab my seal and just move that to the end. Treated myself to a new seal because the outer case of my old one had got so gluey, and it means that it doesn't work quite so well when it's like that. Now if there's a little bit extra, just trim that away, a tiny bit extra there. So our sticker, we've cut this out and we've got an adhesive backing to this. So all you need to do is just use your take a pick tool or something similar point of scissors, something like that, and peel that up and off. And now this will work like a sticker. So I'm just going to pop that there like that, so that it doesn't overlap my sentiment. And I'm just going to squish it down a little, just to make sure that adhesive backing takes. So I'm going to put some more seal on the back of here for us to then mat it onto the card. And because I've got ribbon here, I'm actually going to just use a little bit more tear and tape. The seal won't necessarily stick that well to the ribbon, and because the ribbon is quite close to the top, then I can't get the seal right at the edge. So let's put that away. So we're going to pop this on here, trying to get it straight. And you'll notice that I've not put anything underneath the ribbon on the front. I just put my adhesive on the back. And that is so that I can now slide this second piece of ribbon underneath and tie this in a knot. And that's all that you need to do, and that creates a really pretty and fairly flat knot. If you decide that you want it to be a little bit more secure, I'm going to trim it that way, then you can always add a glue dot underneath. And there we've got our panel for the front of the card. But what I wanted to do was show you that this is something that could be replicated with all sorts of other stamping. You could put a stamped shape here rather than using the die cut. You could use paper top and bottom. You could use ribbon top and bottom. Lots of different ideas that you could use this same outline for. So now I'm just going to stick some dimensionals on here, and I like to put a reasonable number on to make sure that it's not going to get squished if I decide that I'm sending this through the mail. And actually I'm going to pop that to one side so that I can stamp the inside without anything on the front getting in the way. So I'm going to grab another sentiment, if I can find it. And maybe I won't be able to. Let's check whether it's in here. No. So what I'm going to do, I'll take this one. Today is a day to remember. We'll use this. And let's find a block that's a good size to use. And because I've not actually used this one before, I want to check and see whether it is actually mounted straight. Because it's red rubber, I can't see exactly where I'm stamping. So what I tend to do is stamp it onto my grid paper or whatever you're using as a background for your stamping, and that is on quite nice and straight. So I'll now stamp this on here, and I'm just going to use a little bit of that same decorative paper we've used on the front, and we're going to adhere this to the inside. And because this isn't a usual insert, I'm just going to make sure that it goes just inside the fold line, so there might be a tiny bit of overhang, as there is in this case. And all I do is flip it over and trim away that overhang from the back. So there we are, we've got that. Now we can pop this on. So I'm just going to stand up. I like to keep the margins even, sides and top, so that there's a little bit more margin at the bottom. So there is our soft sea foam one, and there is our pool party one. So as you can see, they will both have the same envelope. You can always stamp on the envelope as well if you wish. It has got decorations on it already, as you can see. So if I just make sure that you can see that all right. So, and on there as well. So that is our first card, using the Splendid Day Suite and also using the Soft Sea Foam and Pool Party cards and envelopes. So we're going to stick with the Splendid Day Suite and use a different one of the foils. This one I've made as a birthday card, and I used the Let's Celebrate from that same Splendid Thoughts stamp set. So used that and a happy birthday. But this next one I'm actually going to make as a thank you card. And I'm going to bring in the Charming Sentiments. This was new in the main catalogue. So let me show you what we're doing with this. Now, these papers are wonderful because you get one huge sheet of this foil, and if you cut it across the centre, then you can get 6 of these card fronts out of one sheet, one 12 by 12 sheet, and you're going to get 2 of this same pattern in there. And there's another one that is a similar sort of pattern. And I keep the little edges to use for my inserts. So now if you, let me grab it. If you order from me and get the make and take pack, you're going to get some champagne rhinestones in the pack, which is what I've used here. But I did just want to show you that these metallic dots that are in the main catalogue would also go beautifully, particularly if you're doing a masculine card. I think the rhinestones are just a touch feminine, and these metallic dots are just a touch masculine. I think either would go for either, but I do think that these work particularly well for masculine cards. And you do get 2 sizes of these. I've just used a whole bunch of them. So like I say, if you get the make and take pack, you're going to get the rhinestones. So, and with this, what I have done, have I just put those pieces there? I've used one of our punchers and punched out a basic white and an early espresso version. I've done this technique many times before, but I'm going to share it again tonight. It works with any symmetrical punch. Let me grab the catalogue back to show you. So the one that I've used is this Label Me Lovely. but you could do this with various others as well, because there's a lot of symmetrical punches in there. And all I'm going to do for it is cut across the centre. I'm actually going from straight side to straight side, but you could definitely do it the other way around if you want. Now, I also just like to take off a tiny V, not quite from that corner, just a tiny way down. This just stops it from sticking out when we put this together. So I've used Early Espresso card, and I'm going to use Early Espresso ink, but as always you can use whatever you prefer. And like I say, I'm going to use the Thank You from the Charming Sentiments. These are a little bit larger than it looks like on the front of here. These images are at 85%, so they're actually bigger than you can see here. If you want to check whether something does fit, then what you can do is just pop it over the top. So the Thank You is no problem at all, but the Wishing You Everything Wonderful would go off the sides. So like I say, I'm going to take the Thank You, and grab another block and Early Espresso ink. Now I really should have a mat under here, but I'm not sure where that is. I'm just going to stamp this once to make sure that the ink keys to it. It's the first time I've used this particular stamp, so I want to make sure it's good. Move the hair out of the way, and so there we are. And that's a nice scripty thank you. And the great thing about these, I'll be coming back to them again, is that there's also a die set that will cut these out as well. But we don't need that in this particular case. And what we're going to do now is just pop a bit of our seal on these edges. There we go. And like I say, I want to keep them that way round so you can see that they match up. And then I'm just going to press that and take it from the back, make sure that I don't smudge my ink, and do exactly the same thing at the other side, like that. Now I'm going to pop this on. You can see we've got beautiful patterns on the other side, but I'm never going to get past the foiling. So I always like the shiny foil. So I'm just going to pop this on flat. You could always wrap ribbon around it, but I don't think it's really needed. So there we go. We'll pop that on like that and just press from the back. I wondered where they'd go. And what you might need to do, you could end up with some finger marks on there. So you might just need a bit of kitchen towel or something to just buff up the foil. And I'm going to use a few dimensionals, like that. So you can see that the colours in this pack work for all kinds of occasions year round. There are some great ones that I've already used for paler colours that would work well for summer weddings, summer birthdays, and then you've got a few of these that are just a touch more autumnal. And what I'm going to do is just pop a few of these gems, these champagne rhinestones, some onto the sentiment, and then a few direct onto the foil. Oops. Grab that. There we are. And let's see, we'll have one down here. And if you only want them on the sentiment or on the foil, then you can use them, the remaining ones, on another project. So that's that. Then we've got our insert and a little bit of the remaining foil for this. So thank yous, I usually leave them blank inside because I usually want to add a more personal message, or else this is one that I'm going to be sending out as a thank you to one of my customers. So if you order, you might get one of these. Again, I've cut these with a tiny bit of overhang. It's better to have a little too much that needs trimming away than not enough. And there we are. So we've got one thank you and one happy birthday. So that's that. Okay, so now we're moving on to something a little bit different. Now we're moving on to our gnomes. So let me show you these. These are in the mini catalogue. And I thought I'd got this open. Let's find them. Probably got this marked in a different catty. Can you see it? No. Right, so let's have a look in the index here. So gnomes, page 43. That's a bit quicker, isn't it? That one. So these are our gnomes. So there are some sentiments in here for Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Warm wishes could just be autumn, winter. And then you've got a couple, you know me so well and your kindness does not go unnoticed, that could be used for any time of year. So let me bring in the papers to show you those. So I've got the gnome papers here. Sorry, because these are the 6x6 sheets. You've got beautiful toadstools, a couple of different sort of ones. We've got the reindeers and foxes, reindeers with gnomes. We've got some beautiful blue Christmas trees, and we've got these, and I'm going to come back to those in a moment. But then on the other side, you've got these wonderful designs. We've got snowflakes, we've got little Christmas trees. Right, so that probably was, we've got some more toadstools, more snowflakes, and a lovely Christmas jumper pattern. Now, the important thing about this, let me bring in the stamps. Oops, what was that? So with this set, with this suite as well, you've got a stamp set. So you've got 4 different gnomes and the toadstool house and those sentiments that you saw. And with these dies, you've got toadstools, etc. for cutting these out. And pull these off. Now this won't match up because the images are at 90%, 95% maybe. So it won't look as though it quite matches up. Believe me, they do match up when they are stamped. So you've got ones that will cut out all of these different gnome shapes, but you've also got some extra dies here. So we've got the toadstools, little toadstools. So you've got 2 different sizes of toadstool head and stalk. You've got a tiny little ring here, a circle. We've got a beard, a hat, feet here, and let's see, it could be a nose, it can be what you want it to be. So you can make as many gnomes as you want simply out of this. But what I'm going to show you now, this is one of those sets that has got matching dies for the papers. So let me bring back in these, and we've got a whole range of gnomes. What you need to do is double check that your die is the right one, because they've all got hats, but some of the hats are longer than others. So if I try to use that one on there, you can see it's going to chop off a tiny bit of the hat and it's not going to match at the sides. So that one is for that gnome, and this one here is for the tall hat. So just watch that, take care over that. And then we've also got the toadstool house, and you can die cut out the toadstool house as well. And of course you get 2 sheets of each of these in a pack. Right, so card kit, let me grab that. I've already die cut out our little gnome, and this isn't from that gnome DSP. So let me show you now. This is from that Rings of Love that I mentioned, that there's a whole suite that goes with this. But I also think that this goes particularly well with the gnomes. We've got the flowers, we've got some acorns and oak leaves, we've got blue tits, we've got some little houses, we've got some more toadstools, so the toadstools go very well with our gnomes. We've got poinsettias, nice Christmassy look to it. And then you can flip these over, and we've got trees, we've got rings to go with the Rings of Love, we've got a lovely sort of mandala type design, and this is what I've used, the sort of salted watercolour look. So let me just show you those patterns as well. So like I say, I've actually taken this one, the one that's got the blue tits on the back, but I'm using this side. So I've done, this is another of those ideas that you can reuse in different ways. I've cut a long panel and I'm going to use a little bit of our trim. So this is another one from our Christmas catalogue. And if I go into the back here, this is our iridescent trim that you can find on page 17. So it's sort of a part of the Santa's Delivery Suite. Oops, grab him before he gets lost. And the reason that I got this, it's quite a thick trim because it's a knitted, almost like a French knitted coil with tinsel coming out of it. And for me, it's going to work really well as handles for gift bags. But I thought I would just take a little bit of it to pop on our card here. But that sort of white on white gets just a little bit lost. So I've just cut a tiny strip of, this is mint macaron that I'm using in the background. I've cut a tiny strip of that to be able to show off the trim. So we're going to stamp our sentiment when I can find it. And I think it's already out on my desk, which is quite frightening if you saw my desk at the moment. Here we go. So I'm going to use the You Know Me So Well. Take the thank you off here so we can use that block. And I'm actually just going to stamp this with Memento Black. And if I'm not needing to do colouring with water-based pens, then I do prefer to use the Memento because it cleans off easier. So all I'm going to do is stamp this down at the base of this panel. And if you do get it wrong, you can flip it over and do it again on the other side. And I'm actually going to turn that over and do it again. We'll see which is better. Let's see, going up a little bit, so I'll just drop that down a tiny bit. That's a bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this piece on. Now I know which side I want to use. And you can use whichever adhesive you prefer. So I've got my seal out and it's new and tidy. I will use that. Just put that over like that. Then I'm going to adhere this to this because I don't want the trim to create bulk behind this layer. It can create bulk behind both layers together. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we'll pop that on like that. Let's remove that out of the way. Right, so I'm still using tear and tape as I usually do for ribbon and trim, but this time I'm going to cut a piece and use it to trap this around. So make sure that that's fairly straight and pop that over the top and trap it like that. So I'm going to do the same at the other side. I'm going to stretch this just a little, make sure it's straight, and then pop that there. And then because this is so bulky, I am going to just trim a little bit off there like that. Not too close to where the tape is, but just a little way. So now we can put our dimensionals on, and these dimensionals will mean that we've got that tiny bit of a gap underneath, so that it's not going to create a bump with what we've got here. And what I'll do is just put that there underneath those. Right, so let's put this on, and there's no right way up particularly. Again, I've cut the bottom off these, so there will be a bit of a match, not that it really matters. And it doesn't matter that my birds are upside down, because you're not going to see those at all. So this is another free with £45. The DSP is free with a £45 purchase. So again, this can be used for all sorts of different projects year round. Right, so we've got that. We're going to take these off, backings. I'm not taking off the tear and tape, there's no need. It's already done its job. So I'm going to, let me stand up and do this. Just make sure that that's about centered, like that. And then I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of my die cut gnome. So if you get the DSP, you can die cut your gnomes out, or you can stamp them and colour them in and die cut them out. And then we're just going to finish this in a second, so we'll pop him on like that. I'm going to finish this with a few of these little gems, and again these are part of that gnome suite. These are the sparkle gems, and even though this is actually mint macaron and these are pull party, it's close enough that you wouldn't really know. And these are the other colours that you've got, so you could always pick out sort of the pink to go with the top that we've got on. Maybe it's a little bit orangey. Maybe it's a she. There's long eyelashes there. It might be a she. So I'm just going to use a few of these. I'm going to use the tiniest one, the smallest one, just on the end of his hat. Her hat, his hat, whichever. Like that. And pop these other ones about kind of like that. There we are. Then for my insert, I'm going to use the Warm Wishes sentiment. And where's my little block? Going to need that in a minute. We'll go with the Warm Wishes. Now, I did this a little bit wrong on this one. Didn't check it first. So I want my little guy over there so that he's looking into the card rather than looking out of the card. It sounds like a little thing, but it's just one of those that it actually changes it a little bit. I'll show you when we've got that done. So because I want my little guy over here, I'm going to put my Warm Wishes sentiment a little bit further over to this side. Like that. And we've got our gnome. I'll find a block that will take him. And remember to use the mint macaron. And as always, I just like to, sorry, that hurts my shoulder. I like to do the stamping before I stick the DSP on. You'll have to wait, mister. My little dog is wanting to go out now. And you see, I've caught that, so I'm going to flip that over and do that again and not press it quite so hard. That's better. I'll do the warm wishes again. That's the great thing about two sides to each piece of card. There we are. And I'm running a bit late. I was expecting to finish early tonight. Right. But the last project is a quick one anyway, so I'm just going to stick this along the base here, like that. And I'm sorry because this injury is slowing me down. And I've not even had time to put myself any needles in. I'm looking forward to making time for that tomorrow. But when it's my online workshop, it's also the day that I need to get my packs out to the Paper Dolls team, ready for our meeting next week. And I can't afford to be late with that because post can get delayed anyway. So there we are. There's our card. And just use the eraser there. So there's our gnome card, and you can see we've got different styles of gnomes, so there'll be a little bit of a mix. Right, final project. For the final project, we're using the gold and silver DSP. This pack of DSP has got gold and silver designs. I may have used up all the silver stripes, so let me just so you've got there's also a bunch of papers like this but in silver. So, and what I've used, let me grab this, I have marked the page here. What I've used for this is this cracker and treat box. And it is absolutely fabulous. It's going to be great for projects year round, for wedding favours, for Christmas gifts. And you can see, as well as the cracker box, let me just move that out of the way, as well as the cracker box, you've also got 5 thin skinny labels that you could use with all other sorts of projects. You've got 2 little tags, and you've got these little die cuts. Now you can use these actually to die cut out of the centre of here so people can peek through if you want to. Let me show you what it looks like made up. So that's what it can look like made up. And so this could be, you know, like I say, you could get a pack of those papers. Where's my... if you've got a wedding and somebody needs some help doing wedding favours, there's 24 sheets in here, free with a £45 purchase. If you want to, you can colour these. You can use a brayer to colour them. You can use blends, whatever takes your fancy. So let me show you how this comes together. Now, because of my arm, I've already die cut this out, and I'm just going to fold it, and I recommend just fold it in first, just to break the fibres, and then fold it out again. We're going to want it outward, but it's best to fold it inward first to break those fibres so that it doesn't crack on the outside. If it's going to crack anywhere, it's going to crack on the inside. So again, if I fold those over and then fold them back again, and I do like to just get my bone folder and fold those like that. And I am going to be making so many of these little gifts for so many people. Right, so in the pack, in the Make and Take pack, I put some of the gold trim, and this comes in a pack, amazingly enough. Simply Elegant trim comes with silver and gold. Perfect for this. I've already die cut my little label, and I went for the stitched label because that's so cute. And I'm using the Lots of Thanks. This is, let me get it, from the returning Penguin Place. So I just took it from here. But we've got plenty of small sentiments. That warm wishes that I've just used would fit as well. So, go. So there we go. Right, so let's stamp this. Use my memento. And I'll stand up so that I can see what I'm doing. And there we are. So I'll just leave that over to one side while we do this. Now you can use whichever type of glue you prefer. I do like the tear and tape again for this. Where have I put my, there it is. And what we want to do is pop some tear and tape on the end, one of the end panels, top or bottom, whichever your preference is. And we just want it in that end panel, close to the edge and close to the fold line. And then I'm just going to put tiny pieces as well on these, not going beyond that fold line. So we'll do that, and then I just need a few more pieces, tiny bit fiddly, but it's handy to hold all of this together. And I've still not figured out really what fits in these, because I've not been back from holiday long enough to play with this much. So just press those down, it makes it easier. If we press them down, the backing comes off a bit easier. So I'm going to take off all these backing bits. So with all the different free papers that there are, there's quite a variety in this Sale-a-bration catalogue. We've got these silver and gold ones, we've got that Ringed with Love, was it? I think it's called. And there's a floral one as well that also comes with a stamp set. Great. So what we're going to do now is just fold this over, and what we want to do is line these up. So I don't press too hard to start. When I'm sure that I've got them lined up, then you can press a little bit harder. So make sure everything's lined up and then press. And then what I find is easier is just pop your hand at the top and press in, and that gets those folds going the right way. And I'm going to take the gold trim, find where my seam is, because I want that seam, there it is, at the back. So position that at the back, and the great thing about these is that you could always do them and leave them flat pack and then just assemble them as they're needed. And these are going to look great on the Christmas tree as well. So you'd obviously put whatever you're wanting inside. I'm not worrying about it for now because I can always untie this and pop my treat in afterwards. So there, we've got that tied in a bow. Tie it in a knot if you can't manage a bow. And we've got this. I'm going to use my mini dimensionals because they are perfect for this size of sentiment strip. And where was that backing? Okay, let's get a fresh one. I'll just use 4 along there, like that. So where's my back? You can see it easier there. There we are. So I'm going to pop that on there like that. And there we have our cracker. So there's tonight's projects. We bring them back in. We've got our gnomes. We've got our ready-made cards. And where have I put the... Here we go. My birthday and a thank you. So hopefully that's given you some ideas for using the Sale-a-bration freebies. 3 of our projects have got Sale-a-bration freebies in use on them. But hopefully it's given you an idea of some of the things that you might want to purchase in order to get those freebies. So if you'd like to place an order, I'll be taking orders for this workshop up until Sunday. And if you place an order with me using the host code that I've got detailed in the Facebook feed, then as I say, you will get a thank you card. You may add on to that the ideas tutorial bundle. You can choose your own Sale-a-bration freebie with orders of £45 or over, and you can go for multiple ones. So if you've got a big order, £90, you can either choose a £90 freebie or 2 £45 ones, etc. And as I say, if it goes a bit higher still, you'll also get a DSP pack from me as well. So if you need any help with ordering, please let me know. But I'm happy to help. And like I say, I hope that this has given you some ideas that you can use in future. So thanks for being here with me, and good night.